Room Podcast, and we are back in full force. Yeah. It's been a few weeks since we've had everybody here.
Fantastic Four.
It's good to see you guys. It's good to see you. It's even better to see your shirt, your stupid face that I want to punch.
Hey, this is a nice looking shirt. Actually.
No, that's the ugliest color combination.
Really? You think so?
Cabbage green.
It's Tommy Bahama,
coleslaw purple.
Right? This shirt costs more than your car, buddy. Okay,
it's fuchsia.
How about that?
I don't think that's something to brag about with how it looks.
I don't hate that shirt.
No, I don't hate the shirt either. I hate the person in it.
Gray highlighter.
By the way, you guys were knocking on my nose about rhinoplasty. Let me tell you what.
Well, we could.
Yeah, it looks good.
This don't change. This says I'm Italian.
That's your trademark.
Yeah, it says I'm Italian.
That's
about all the big nose.
That's about all that says you're
Italian. You remember here, Humpty?
Yeah.
Remember that? I got a big nose. So
rest
what?
in peace.
Yeah, I know.
I think he's talking about Digital Underground, the Humpty.
But he does. My nose is big. So what?
Yeah, I know that's what he's talking about.
Sexy baby.
He doesn't
do the hump, the hump.
Watch do the hump, the hump.
Have you ever heard that song?
Yeah.
I once got busy in the BK.
No, you have not.
They call me Humpty.
Yeah, that song's great.
Pronounced with the Humpty. Yo, ladies.
All right.
Allow me to Pumpty.
I got around on the new
That's
phone.
a good one. Yeah.
Standing tall, y'all.
And my sound's laid down by the underground.
Wow.
I drank up all the Hennessy you got in your show. So just let me introduce myself. My name is Humpty.
Are we copyright strike now?
No.
Are you kidding? That dude's broke as shit.
That sounds free. He's dead.
We're dead, Mark. Yeah. I just said he passed.
I know. That's why he's broke.
He was young too when he died.
To be broke and dead.
That's in bad taste, Mark.
Yeah.
I guess there's a limit to the Humpty dance.
Sure is.
So how was your weeks, guys?
How was my weeks?
Yeah, my weeks.
I spent a lot of time with you this weekend.
I know we did. Yeah, we did actually.
Yeah,
that's cute.
Phil, we ate food together. We ate a snow cone. We fed each other a little bit with the spoons.
Did we do that?
Lady and the Tramp. That's with spaghetti.
Well, it was snow cone, so you couldn't do that. Hey,
you had to work quickly because it melts.
I wouldn't eat his
Phil and I did try something that we've never tried before. A new product.
Okay.
Yeah. What was the product we
Fuzzy
tried?
handcuffs.
Boba tea. From,
boba. Timon. Let me tell you what. Juliana makes a heck of a
not sponsored, but we'd love to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I have.
Did we take my kids for boba once a week?
Bobo?
Boba. I said he fucking came in there and it sounded like Bobo.
Phil's going to be owner here, part owner. We think here.
Tiger milk tea is pretty good.
Of boba.
The tiger milk is it. That's what I had. Phil had a fruity concoction.
Though.
The pearls were good. I had the fruit. I had the fruit one.
Are you a popping pro or a chewy boba?
I like the chewy.
That was my first time having it.
What'd you have?
I had the fruit one.
The popping pearls?
Yeah.
Try chewy next time and see which one you like.
I tried both. I had the other one because she gave us some ice cream.
Yeah. She kind of led us around the menu, brought us ice cream, showed us the different types of pearls, right?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Big Boba fan. Boba guy. I'm Boba guy.
Yeah, we are Boba boys now.
You know what you look like? Do you know what you look like? Yeah.
You guys look like Boba guys.
Walrus.
You guys look like fucking Boba guys. I was there.
Yeah.
Fucking popping each other's.
What do you mean? He's talking shit about
popping each other's pearls.
Hey,
what we got going on
I do want to mention that we have another show, Guys on Draft, and you guys should watch because it is hilarious.
It is hilarious.
In a cancelable kind of way. Yeah. Any episode, it's possible that we might get canceled.
Listen, if you got thin skin, don't watch it. You got thick skin, you like to laugh, watch it.
Or if you could just somehow set your whatever device you're watching on to mute out Mark, then it wouldn't be canceled.
Mark might be the most entertaining part of the show. To be fair,
in a way that would maybe cancel us.
Buddy.
To be fair.
Yeah. So, anyways, you guys go to our YouTube channel and you'll find Guys on Draft and
follow us there.
Hey, I think you should watch it. So,
all right, so
Philip,
Big Zaddy,
Small Phil.
Can you please give us our comments? Oh, wow, that was a good one. Comments for the week. What do we got?
So if you like the show, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. If you comment something, we might shout you out. The first one, and hit the applause button for Phil because 130 plus views on TikTok.
That was fast.
Well, no, it's. I checked this morning; it was over 150. So I don't know where it is.
So it's kind of going to his head like it went to Mark's head.
Not really.
Not really. I'm at 450. He's not even in my league.
No, but you got it. But it's been 6 months. You got to give him a chance because it could still keep going.
He's a rising star.
I'm just thinking how happy we were when our Run DMC thing went 135, and now we've routinely passed it.
Yeah.
I think it's very okay. So the first comment, and I only picked 2 this week to kind of keep it nice and short and simple. And this is the most liked comment from your wildcard predictions, Phil.
Did I answer him?
Maybe there's 50 replies.
Yeah,
so
I answered
maybe
a bunch of
you
them.
did, and
Yeah.
that was awesome to see. Grizzly Collector on TikTok said Green Bay at the wild card, laughing emoji face. Okay, and I had the most likes. So I think a lot of people, at least on your post, think that Green Bay in the wild card is laughable.
What is his name again?
Grizzly Collector.
What does that mean?
I
He's
tell
a
you what.
Bears fan. That's what that means.
Well, he has a Packers logo as his.
Oh well,
So-
no bias, huh?
Well, hold on, wait. It is biased, but it's the most liked comment. So there's some validity there.
One word for you guys. Casual.
So do you think what he's trying to say with that name is that they own the Bears?
Oh.
Because that's what I think they're trying to
Probably.
say.
Wow.
Yeah. Because Aaron Rodgers does own the Bears twice a year.
He does. But the Bears do have a Super Bowl in their. How many do you guys have? How many Super Bowls do you guys have?
We have multiple
none, right?
championships. Multiple.
multiple.
We have multiple championships too. One more than you, as a matter of
Multiple
fact.
So
championships.
Phil, if you could respond to Grizzly Collector in probably 30 seconds, what would you say?
What I would say is, it's the easiest take to have that Green Bay is going to win the division because they have for so long. But guess what? Eventually, they're going to not win the division.
Change of the guard.
And I would argue that, yes, on paper, their defense does look like it's upgraded. But Aaron Rodgers is a year older. No, I'm not saying I think he's going to fall off a cliff.
I am.
But we've seen him have down years, particularly right before these past 2.
Down syndrome years.
And the division is tougher.
Just let him do his thing.
The division is tougher, and he's lacking skill players. Aaron Jones and Dillon, great. I am not convinced of anybody in that wide receiver room. I don't know how they're going to throw the ball around the way he's used to. He's not 32 years old. Is he going to carry that wide receiver corps? So I can understand picking them, but people that are poo-pooing and acting like it's just a given that they're going to win that division, I think is a little casual.
Perfect. I love it.
Stay tuned, fans, because we will talk about that wide receiver room later.
I just can't believe that
Nice.
he's talking bad about. I don't know if you heard, but Rodgers went down to Central America.
Mm-hmm.
He went into a hut. He visited the Oracle.
Yeah.
Ate
Like,
some
he-
dirt.
Yeah, he is like on another astral plane.
Oh, I
right now.
love Rodgers. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he's like
my guy.
he's kicking at all cylinders, talking to the mother goddess of Earth.
Yeah,
It's working.
He's gonna throw to a wide receiver he thought was on the field, but it just was some wind and,
You know
and
what?
an energy field.
The rest of the NFL players, they go to church. So,
Yeah, pick your poison, I guess.
Take me to church.
they're
All
talking
right,
to something.
Sam Smith. All right, so the second comment and the final
Hosier.
comment is from. Oh, is that Hosier?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
They sound the same in my brain.
They do, yeah. a
But
little bit.
Hosier's good though.
Yeah, they are. I
Yeah.
saw him in concert.
Like
Pretty good.
Tatis.
Mm-hmm. You're getting me on a sidetrack here. So we had a lot of. I think we had a lot of funny clips, if I do say so myself, about like maybe us misspeaking or saying like out of context
And
things.
we do say it.
And Mark was talking about a preseason play
Threw
where Justin Fields threw him, which
Threw
is not a
him.
word.
Yeah.
Should be.
And there were some people clowning you, but
Should be
we're
a
not
word.
going to go there. We're going to go with user 4563039870397
I am not a robot.
said Mark has reached a level in society where he can make up words as he pleases. Y'all better show him that respect
Yeah.
with a K instead of a T.
Yeah. So that is Mark. Actually, that user is Mark.
I don't think it's Mark though because
I think that's
this-
Mark's burner.
No,
This
but
is
this,
Mark's
person-
burner.
this
I
person,
don't pay enough attention to this goddamn podcast to be able to do that.
That's my
Yeah.
point. That's my point. This person's commented a few times with different
Tara.
takes. So like, maybe it is Tara.
But he likes Mark.
He likes Mark a lot.
He's more so a Miami Dolphins fan too.
Yeah, but he's really into
some
Mark.
reason,
He keeps
He
supporting
does.
Mark.
I think it's. Shout out to this viewer for watching or
I
at
hope
least
it's my
following
daughter.
Reveal
and is-
yourself.
and is seeing.
Reveal yourself.
It's Tom Brady.
Who
and the
are
last
you?
thing the
We
last
need a
singer.
name. Come on the show and talk to us about why you support Mark
Swallowing the
when
mic,
most
guy.
of society does not.
Screaming in the mic.
Swallowing the mic there.
I am sorry.
Jeez.
So, yeah, so those are the comments. Thank you for commenting. Continue to comment.
All right, so it's time to get to our first section of the show, which is pressing issues.
Pressing issues. What's the issue? If there's issues, we're gonna press them.
Yeah, come on now. Hey, baby, ready. So, as another thing, you guys were making fun of that drop. And let me tell you what, that's pure sex.
I want you to hear. I want you to do that live at a draft.
I'll do it. But no, I'll do it. But I got to get paid for that because that's like it's at another level.
Nobody's paying for that.
I deserve to get
Can
paid.
you imagine if we like went into concert at some point and people just wanted to hear it, like kind of like
would.
the guys at South Park, where they're like they just want to hear us like sing it live.
What's the issue?
That'd be cool if we have a following.
Like people with like tambourines.
Okay, I just want to ask you guys. I want to ask you guys this question: have you ever hummed that
Yes.
Excuse me.
at home when you're not on the show? Have you
All-
ever sung that?
Yes.
all the
Yes,
time.
Yes.
because it
Not
is
all the time.
it is like vocal sex.
Okay.
All right. Well, we also have a new board man we didn't mention. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm on the boards.
Yeah, we did. We
I think I've been demoted.
no. You were
you've been
promoted.
promoted.
I wasn't looking for it.
Well, you got it.
Well, such is the hand that I can't think of the phrase.
The hand takes it.
You're like a-
gives
you're like a
gives it to you.
Excalibur.
Takes it away. So
He got Wally pipped, Rocky.
yeah. So.
All right, so we get to our first pressing issue as something we talked about a few weeks ago, and yep, there they are, the trio.
Clowns.
They're back. I mean,
Are they?
there's a couple ways we could go with this. I think one of the biggest things is that if you haven't heard, Kevin Durant, it's official that he's back with the Nets. They're trying to win a championship again.
They're trying to make up.
Yeah, whatever they're doing. But what I find interesting is that in the past few years, we've seen a lot of NBA stars try to force their way out of places, get their way almost in every situation.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people that were saying that Joe Tsai, the owner of the Brooklyn Nets, should stand his ground, and it kind of seemed like he was. And I think he won. I think the question is now, does this change the method of operations for guys wanting to be free agents going forward? Is this like an example for other owners, or is this kind of just a one-off?
I think off the top of my head real quick that if this is the best litmus test because it's Kevin Durant. He's one of the best players in the league. He's a top 100 player forever, as of right now. And the Nets aren't really a team that have had much like winning culture or weight behind them to kind of back up their stance, and they did it.
Yeah.
And they did it with not only Kevin Durant, but the rest of this trio has had problems. So the fact that they did it with Kevin Durant, I think, does hold a little bit of weight as far as what other people do.
Derek Coleman is rolling over in his grave. All right.
I would say that is just a little differing point. The market didn't evolve for them. So, like, I think
That's
they
true.
would have traded
Right.
them but I think what he did is say,
100%.
you can have them.
It wasn't worth it
This
for him,
is
though.
what it cost. And I think people are tired of Kyrie. They're tired of his antics. Nobody wants him on the team, on their team. And Kevin, he is one of the best players, but he's aging, coming off an injury, had trouble last year staying healthy. And I think that, I don't think it resets the market.
Yeah.
I think it's very much these guys.
You want to go? Okay.
You go.
I want to agree with you. Well, I'm praying it changes the market.
Me
but
too.
I
Me
don't.
too.
I think it's a lot of what you said. I think they both hurt their stock. It's hard to trade for players like this when a guy that just signed a 4-year contract. What guarantees me that a year and a half into this contract, he's not just going to axe out again, right?
Right.
That's one part. And the other part, he's been there. They've been there 2-3 years, and they haven't done anything.
Yeah.
As
They
good as
haven't
he
done
is,
shit.
it kind of shows they're not available all the time, especially Kyrie. And I think, the market didn't, it didn't pan out for
strong.
them. But I do think there's a chance that teams can see what happened and say, oh, well, they just have to play, right? And especially with an aging star, guys that are, maybe a 20, 22-year-old guy halfway through his rookie contract that does this, maybe it's different because maybe he's willing to sit out a year. But an older player, established player, guys that are getting older, maybe, you force their hand and they just have to play for you.
Let's face it. Call their bluff, man. This league it's not an old man's league anymore, right? So that's what they're doing. They're calling their bluff. They're saying, we're not going to pay you because you're not going to put the asses in the seats. No one's going to want to really come out to see Kevin Durant. Now, you bring like John Morant, you bring somebody else into town, whatever, And the other aspect for me for this is that, like, what is true and what's not, right? Because KD's come out and said, everything that you're reading on social media is not me. It's somebody else that's faking my account. I've wanted to be here. I didn't want to leave. That's him, I think, maybe saving face.
Yeah. Oh no, my friend took my phone.
Yeah,
Like,
like-
that's the.
I was drunk. I had a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Like,
typical
I'm like over this shit.
Got
I could care
hacked.
less, but I think what's happening is I think the owners are catching on to this, and I think the fans are, because the owners aren't going to pay you unless the fans are going to come and watch you. And at this point, Are the fans going to come out and watch KD every night? I don't know. I wouldn't.
Listen, I'm a fan of KD. Like, I like watching KD, but I don't know that he can stay healthy. And I am a little bit sick of him forcing his way out of different situations.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why that was for, but I liked it. It sounded good.
Timed.
It sounded
Perfectly
good.
I'm trying to time it good. Hey, but so all that being said, are they the favorite in the East to get to the finals?
No.
Well, on a side note, Ben Simmons actually hurt himself after this picture was taken.
On purpose?
Yeah, well, no, he actually tripped over a map of the flat Earth that Kyrie had. He
Well, you know, he came
tripped
out
over
and
the
said
Because of the
Antarctic,
flash from the picture.
the Antarctic cliff.
he came out and said he was just messing with people when he did that. Now,
"Yeah, did he?
yeah,
Yeah, okay."
Oh yeah, his friend took his phone again.
likely story.
Yeah.
So nobody thinks they're
There's a rascal in
who do we
Brooklyn.
think the favorite in the East is? Then?
I think
Cleveland
chemistry.
Cavaliers.
I think chemistry is more important.
that's
For basketball.
You sound stupid.
You do
So
sound
I still
stupid.
think the Heat are a really good team.
Yeah.
I think if they can continue to stay healthy and do what they do best, then they're a top team. I think the Sixers have done a decent job at reloading.
Oh, that's a fucking homer pick. It's the Celtics.
The Celtics, honestly, yes, you're right. The Celtics did even a better job at reloading because
They
they got
did.
a lot of good
They
players.
did. Well, they got a lot of good players on the cheap
They
that I
did.
think have a possibility of really doing well for
That
them.
actually want to play basketball and don't give a fuck about social media.
and
Yeah,
honestly,
you're right.
the Bucks kind of match up well against the Nets. So
I think in the East there's a lot of teams that are in this point where they're pretty good. Like who do the Cavs potentially get for Colin Sexton?
Does anybody care?
Oh, of course I do.
No, you do.
The Sixers. I want to see how they gel together because I don't hate a lot of their moves. I don't, and they've got some cap space. I think the Heat. I'm interested. I like the Celtics. There's a lot of teams. I would not go into the season saying they are.
If they're healthy and they actually play, I think they're one or two favorites. I think them and the Celtics probably.
That's big ifs though.
I like Philly, but I got to see Harden be Harden.
I don't even know if the Nets, if they're healthy and these three are playing, like what's the team behind them? I don't even know at this point because it's a bunch of players that are going on
Well, and
10-day
what is
contracts.
Simmons like healthy? What is
That's the
Simmons?
big question.
Simmons is probably one of the best third options on a team if he's healthy and does his role.
I mean, but you think he's a
what is-
scorer? Like
but
to
what
me,
is that?
he's not
He's
really a scorer
anymore.
He's not a
Yeah,
scorer.
he's a defender.
He's like a 10-point.
He's a facility. He's a playmaker, though.
Yeah.
No, on this team,
He's a
on this team,
playmaker.
he does his best role because he doesn't need to have.
He doesn't need to
need
score. He just has to set these guys up.
I just don't think these three aren't playing, and what's on the court. That's just my point. I think.
That'd be interesting to see.
Who would you say? Like, do you have you think they're a favorite, and then who else do you think would be a favorite?
I think like 0.40 seconds ago, I said the Celtics and the Nets.
Yeah, I didn't hear the Celtics.
I'll say this quickly about KD though. At first, when he went to Golden State, like I wasn't necessarily on the side of. I was more on the side of like, okay, like he can kind of go and win if he wants to. I wasn't like full snake yet, but like, man, the more KD does, the more it's like you can't be on his side for
Were
things.
you a Golden State fan when you went
No.
over there? Okay,
No,
just checking.
Not one bit actually.
no.
Good.
I
Good.
actually
Good
dislike
on you.
Golden State.
You like Golden State?
I dislike Golden State.
I'm sure you
Oh,
do.
he doesn't like Curry because he shimmies. You know. Old man take.
Yeah, that is an old man take.
No, I just
Yeah, he cheats.
Who does this when
He
they
chooses-
score a
he
three
chooses
pointer?
No, I'm
Chooses
okay.
mouthpiece too much.
I'm okay with that as long
Uh-huh.
as you then don't say how humble you are.
Can you put the
Just
old timey
own
voice
it.
on me
It's
real quick?
it's basketball.
Put the old timey voice on me.
So this is
I don't think
actually
we have an old. Do we have an old time?
this is actually something
I hate that he shimmers. It makes no sense. Back in my day, they weren't shooting 3 points. They were going right to the rim, baby. Big all lineups. I like the Cavaliers. My name's Rocky.
That was terrible.
this isn't a slight on Stefan. This is a slight on his brother, who you say that you can't stand all the time, who looks like Steph Curry.
Steph?
Curry.
Curry.
You said carry.
That's a Jersey thing.
Saying
Southern
people's names
Jersey.
wrong.
Wait, so you don't like Curry because he says it? When
No,
you
no,
play basketball,
I like Curry. I
you
think
trash
he's,
talk. I know you never played in the mean streets,
No,
but
no,
that's what you
yeah.
do.
I like Curry. I think he's one of the greatest shooters of all time. I
I'll
just
let him
hate.
know. He'll be very happy.
I just hate how people say he's a humble player.
He
He's
is.
not. Just don't call him a
no,
humble player.
he could be a humble guy.
He's not a humble.
Dude,
guy.
he's
but
super
see,
humble.
that's ridiculous.
bullshit.
You're bullshit.
Bullshit.
So you got to be humble when you play basketball too. Hey,
No,
hey,
no,
man,
no.
hey,
He
good
acts the
try.
same way as LeBron,
Uh-huh.
and they say, and they'll say LeBron's not
there it
humble, and
goes.
they'll say that Curry is.
Who says that?
So did you hate Reggie
Everybody
Miller?
who's a fan of Golden State.
Did you hate
Well,
Reggie
that-
Miller?
Oh, he's such a good Christian.
saying who's-
Yeah, guy.
Oh wow! So how do you? So he's not a good Christian because he shimmies. Oh wait,
I didn't say that.
Dude,
I
you're a
just-
kinda said that.
Cavaliers fan. LeBron is the biggest goddamn POS.
100%. I agree.
Love the
100%.
fact that he brought your city,
And he does the exact
title.
same stuff, and they say that he's such a humble man. Come on.
He is humble.
His wife, on Twitter, like screaming nonstop.
Have you
and-
seen his wife? He can do better. He's humble.
oh wow!
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
there goes that. I would say both of those gentlemen have done great things with their money and their influence. Does LeBron always say the smartest things in the media? No.
No.
Does Steph shimmy on the court and chew his mouthpiece? Yes. But if you've played any basketball in your life around guys that really play basketball, that's part of the game. That's not being humble. You could be a humble person off the court.
But you're not. I'm okay with that.
The guys that are humble on the court, they suck.
But
'cause
he
they don't
says
have
he's
to-
humble.
He is. He can be humble off the court, Rocky.
No,
God
on
damn
the
it,
court.
give
They
me
say,
today's-
Oh, what a humble player.
Who says that? I've never heard this in my life besides you saying that.
Okay,
Nobody's
so
ever said
I'll
that.
have somebody call in next week and
Who's
talk about it.
your friend that agrees
No,
with
no,
you?
no. Nobody agrees
Who?
with me. Danny Mauderly constantly talks about what a humble, great, such a good sport he is.
Where are the Craig Elos and the
So
Mark
you-
Prices of this
You're
league?
basing this on one guy, right?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I didn't want you to agree with me.
Actually,
I was
Elo-
making fun of you.
Actually, Elo wasn't a good sport.
So you're basing this on one guy, though.
No, there's a culture around the Golden State Warriors only around Curry.
You also had Brad Daugherty, who was the biggest piece of shit to ever play the game aside from Bill Laimbeer.
That's fair.
That's fair. I mean, what's really fair is to get to our next pressing issue, which is preseason proposals. And I'm going to let Zach run with this.
A lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure.
Get on your knee and propose. Here we go.
Baby's first day.
So there's a lot of interesting things that happened in the preseason. We're going to get to a lot of things that we learned, but what I think I observed that was interesting was two things. Kyler Murray was making play calls for the Cardinals. That's something that at least we haven't seen in the light of media. Kliff Kingsbury came out and said that he wanted to show Kyler that it's not like it's a video game, that there's more to it.
I think he said verbatim, "This shit ain't easy," and I wanted him to know.
Sure. The fact that I think it was the quarterback or maybe the wide receivers coach that said that Kyler Murray's play calling is different and goes for the big play and is explosive and they like it. I have a few things about it. Is it causing controversy between the quarterback that already has drama with the organization that he's in? Is it something that quarterbacks need to do in the preseason, especially for younger quarterbacks, because it teaches them play calling behind the line of scrimmage when they're actually on the field? And is it just a good or bad thing? That's the first part of this proposal that I think that the preseason is trying to at least attempt.
Okay, we'll go first, Mark.
Well, let's face it, right? That first week, Kingsbury came out and said that about Kyler. He said, I wanted to prove to him that this shit isn't a video game and it's not easy, right? And Kyler floundered.
Yeah.
But then he came back in the second week of doing it and outscored Kingsbury 14-3, right? So I think he showed that he had amazing adaptation to what he saw, and he translated it to the football field, whether it be like his esports knowledge or whatever, and proved that, hey, maybe sometimes this does work. Now, the interesting point here to me is it something that does divide the team, right? Here's Kyler wanting to go for the big play like you always want to do when you're playing, video games or whatever.
And a quarterback in the league.
Yeah, versus a conservative type approach that a coach wants to do while managing the clock to get the win. So, I mean, it's a really interesting divide, and I don't think it worked out how Kingsbury wanted it to work out. And because of that, I think that it might be an issue.
So I would say that, first of all, there's trouble in paradise. Like, this is a team that's not getting along.
They should be playing with fire, I think.
Yeah, because, first of all, they had the contract where they had all these things written into it because they didn't trust Murray's decision-making. They thought he was lax on his preparation, right? He complained so much, and then the media got behind it to where they took all that out of his contract. And I think Kingsbury's upset. And he's like, okay, I'm going to show you, I'm going to prove to you, You know, and my only point
And
is,
then it backfired.
well,
Preseason.
he floundered in the first game, and in the second game against second and third string players that will never play in the NFL as starters.
The same thing as the first
He
game, though.
overscored. Well,
Because it happened in the fourth quarter in the first game.
okay, that's fair. But my whole point is like I don't think he proved much against the team that was out there in that phase of the game. Like I watched the Eagles game.
I
I'm
get
sure
that.
you did too. I couldn't recognize, like after the first 4 series, I didn't know any of the Browns. Like they were all rookies. Like it was like,
Are you kidding? David Bell was on the field until the end of the game.
well, David Bell's because he was hurt. But
Boom, roasted.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I get it.
I didn't know a lot of the players.
Burn.
So
Split and spit.
I don't know if that makes sense that I don't know that he proved it against top tier talent.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
all I'm
that's
saying.
fair. What I'll say is, what nobody's talking about is, what about his fit? I mean, check him out. He's got
Kyler?
the medium T showing off the guns.
Yeah, he does have some guns.
He's got the Cuban link.
Yeah.
And he looks good. I think more coaches should take this approach. I'm not even bullshit. I mean,
No, because when Matt Patricia wore his hat backwards,
but see, it's different because Matt
He's got the
Patricia
Invicta
Matt
watch.
Patricia.
had the pencil.
didn't cut his hair. He didn't,
Got the Invicta watch,
Got
you
the
know?
nice. Yeah, I mean, he looks like he knows what he's doing.
He's a
That's
player's
guy,
coach?
especially young players. Right, you follow that guy.
That's my chain, fool. He got the whole look going on.
Looks like he's about like honestly 5'6" though. I mean, he
Look at
really
the guy
does.
next to him. I mean, what is he looking at? Like he's
He's
ripping.
mad.
one.
He's mad. He's not happy. He's like, that's my play calling.
yeah, I got this kid playing calling plays instead of
Is
me.
he the OC or who is that?
I don't know, but he
No
don't look
idea.
happy. He does not
He
look
does
happy.
not
at
look
all.
happy.
Is that a Hollywood Brown behind Kyler Murray and the
Might be.
coach?
Look, they're not even paying attention. Oh my God, they're falling apart.
Yeah.
Josh Rosen right next to him.
No, that's not even Josh
Rosen.
Rosen.
Not
That's
Josh
on the
Rosen.
Browns.
Oh shit.
That's Trace McSorley.
Oh, Trace
Trace
McSorley.
McSorley.
Who had two
He threw a
two
touchdown
interceptions,
too, right?
and 2 interceptions,
I
right?
didn't
Okay.
even try. He's a goat.
He's waiting for because nothing will top Tatis though. I mean, Tatis is a big name draw.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
And the fact that you
Tatis.
didn't know that he wasn't traded
Tatis.
for immediately.
Nobody cares about Josh Rosen.
I don't.
Nobody gives a shit about
No,
Trace
nobody
McSorley.
does. He's about to get cut.
Is he about to get cut?
Yes.
MLB.
Yes, he is.
Well, maybe you should, buddy. All right.
MLB is a faction
So I
of your
think that's all
imagination.
for pressing issues. We'll move on. We don't have an ass of the week, but we do have a class of the week.
You stay classy, San Diego.
Big
I'm Ron Burgundy. You stay classy, San Diego.
I think we need to do a new drop with all of us involved in that.
Hell
Stay classy.
yeah.
Stay classy. Right?
I got an idea.
Because I don't, Zach, you're only in one of them,
Of course
right?
you do.
The basketball one, yeah.
That's what I do. I'm
Yeah.
an idea guy.
Yeah.
think so.
Are you?
I'm a big idea guy.
I'm the idea guy.
You don't have. Well, you have a lot of ideas.
I do.
Yeah.
It's
That's about it.
I shoot them out.
So who wants to talk about the class of the week?
Well, Dickie V. He
Yeah.
does cancer free.
Woo, ring that bell, Dickie.
Yeah, there you go, Dickie. Where's the applause? Let's get to Dickie
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I do love about Dick Vitale though is that he's always stood behind what Jim Valvano, his mission and everything that Jim Valvano meant, and Dickie V's always stood behind that, and he's always been a huge supporter of Valvano. And
Similar energy to Jimmy
Oh.
B.
That's true.
could you imagine those two together today? Still, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like that was like it's bringing goosebumps.
Do
to
you
me, 'cause,
guys
I
like
love-
when Dickie V, when he announces a game, do you like listening to
Oh
him?
hell
Yeah,
yeah!
yeah. I mean,
How about you, Zach? Does he like excite you, a younger guy?
He's googling who he is.
No, I'm not. Does he excite me? I don't know if like any
Dicky.
commentator really excites me.
Really?
but
Really?
I don't
Yeah.
think so. To be honest, I think
Really?
like they're all like
sad.
some
Yeah.
of them are good at what they do.
I feel bad for you.
but I'm
So
not
do
like
I.
I'm not like whoa.
Oh, man.
Well, I think it's a different,
think-
like
he
it's a
grew up in
different
that time,
generation
yeah.
where like,
I haven't had a lot of like
yeah,
like
we grew
I
up
don't know.
with like in
Exciting.
basketball. This is who I think of,
Yeah, me
right?
too.
I mean,
College
it's
basketball.
Maryland,
Yes.
baby.
Yes,
Maryland
college.
gonna excite the nation.
I don't think
baby.
about him with
Yeah,
NBA
you don't have any of
basketball.
those. Now you have
Hey,
Joe
so,
Buck and
Mark.
Vic.
Anything else you love about Dick?
I love Dick. EV. He's dude. He encapsulates what college basketball was, man. Like I grew up on it, and I mean, if you played, you know, now it's esports, but back then there wasn't the online faction to it. But I mean, he was the announcer in every
Faction.
college basketball game, and it was just, it was incredible, man.
he was the John Madden of college basketball.
He was.
Cancer's a bitch, right?
Yeah, and he
Me
beat
too.
it though. He beat it, and
Beat
that's
it.
fantastic thing, you know.
Congratulations, Dickie V. All right, so we'll get to our next section. What did we learn? What did we learn?
And it's for weeks 2 and 2 out of the 3.
That's
Sorry,
right.
2.
Okay.
Wow, that was week 2 out of the 3 in the preseason.
Great,
Yeah.
There you go. You wrote
great
it right.
slide for the watchers, but the listeners only. Man, I feel bad for you for just
Yeah, you're
hearing
missing
that.
this slide though.
Week 2/3.
You know, it is a pretty slide, though, right?
It's like
It is nice.
It's a
good
fucking
slide.
Harry
Yeah.
Potter
So,
preseason reference.
what did we learn, Tommy?
What did we learn? We learned a lot.
Mark.
Oh, and me. Oh, okay. What did we learn? Well, we learned a lot of shit, man. Where do you want to start? We learned that.
You have a conversation with yourself.
Over to you, Mark.
Let's talk about.
Baker Mayfield was, maybe we should say Baker. Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs is given the nod by Aaron Rodgers being the best rookie receiver he's ever worked with and thinks that he will attain fame quicker than Jordy Nelson and Devontae Adams, who took 4 and 5 years for their first 1,000-yard season.
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody realizes that, but they were not immediate impact stars.
Yeah.
Romeo Doubs, he said, can attain that year 1. We learned that Brian Washington.
Well, wait, can I argue this? Because I agree, Romeo has looked good in the preseason.
Jesus Christ.
But I think you're overstating it because I have a quote here from Rodgers, and it says,
A live fact check.
And this is
live
horseshit.
pass-
He's getting it off of somebody's social media. It
he
doesn't
says,
exist.
you know, I hate that.
Doing the robot one.
Okay, so Dobbs hasn't been perfect. He's dropped 2 passes in both of his games, and he's had issues with drops in practice. This is a direct quote from Rodgers. If you keep dropping the ball, you're not going to be out there. Aaron Rodgers said it's going to be the most reliable guys that get out there.
So that was 2 weeks ago.
No, that was Monday.
that was Monday of 2
This
weeks
is a
ago.
Monday drop.
Monday of 2 weeks ago. So since
No,
then,
Mark, you're wrong. It's a Monday
Well,
drop.
since then, Rodgers has redacted those statements
He's
and
such a-
said that Dobbs is going to
He didn't
be.
redact. You don't like Rodgers.
He
He would never
redacted it?
redact
I don't,
anything with
I
you.
don't like
He
Rodgers.
would never redact
I don't
anything
like
with
him,
you.
but I'm going to give him credit here because he has recently come out and said that Dobbs
This is what
going to
he
be.
said
Anyway,
Monday.
moving on.
Romeo Doubs.
Brian Washington.
No, Brian Robinson.
Brian Robinson Jr.
You're
Brian,
screwing the no.
Brian, yeah, I don't know why I wrote Brian Washington.
I saw that. I knew
Brian
it was gonna happen.
Robinson in Washington.
Yes.
Jr.
I'm an idiot.
moving up the draft boards. So he's apparently taking all the first team reps in practice. He has started the first 2 preseason games, and to point, Antonio Gibson has been expendable, being used on special teams.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Which is crazy because we all thought that Gibson was that versatile 3-down back, but there's a reason why they brought McKissick back after the trade fell through. McKissick after the trade fell through.
McKinsick.
To where'd he go? Was it New England?
McKissick.
Right, it was New England because they were looking. I think they didn't.
It was signed on like the right. They matched.
Yeah, and then they matched in the 11th hour. So that tells you that they weren't very faithful to Gibson's receiving prowess. And now that Brian Robinson is there, and he was originally just going to be the short down back and probably a touchdown vulture. Well, it looks like he might be getting the early down work. Period.
Buffalo, not New England.
Buffalo. That is correct. Yes.
Same difference.
Well, and Gibson has had a fumbling problem in his brief career, and he
Fumblerooski.
fumbled in the very first game, and that immediately put him into the doghouse.
Fumble Rooski.
With,
Sucks to suck if you
Ron.
drafted early and took Antonio Gibson. You
Yeah.
better trade that boy away now.
Yeah. And speaking of fast risers at the running back position, Isaiah
The running back what?
position.
Okay.
Position. It's 2 Z's. Position.
Another Markism.
Isaiah Pacheco from Rutgers University in New Jersey.
Isaiah Pacheco.
Pacheco. It sounds like medical marijuana right there, but he is
Just a
skyrocketing.
Hispanic last name.
Isaiah Purple Haze.
And that
He
makes
is-
marijuana to Mark.
Exactly. Are you dealing it? So he is skyrocketing.
You look like you're
up
smoking it.
transport.
It's like Shaggy ate too many sandwiches and
He's
in the van. now.
skyrocketing up the transports. So there are rumors that CEH might not get as much work as anticipated. There are rumors that Rojo will not even make the team. And Pacheco all of a sudden has gone from draft position 700 plus to upwards of like 105.
So from not to hot.
It's from not to hot. Pacheco, medical marijuana. Get him on your team.
Pacheco.
Next up, let's keep it with the running backs. Kenyon Drake, he's going to be cut.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy. Josh Jacobs, like I've been saying, go get him. What else do we know? All right, let's go to quarterbacks.
Who do you think's going to pick up Kenyon Drake?
Wait.
Zamir White.
No. Who's going to pick up
Just
Kenyon?
slow down for a second, guy.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
who's
thought you
gonna
meant pick up
like
his-
what
going
team
to pick up Kenyon Drake?
Because Kenyon,
I don't know.
Kenyon looked decent in the preseason.
Your
He
face.
did? Dude, he was like, he
face.
had like 2 like good games in Miami. He sucked in Arizona.
He was hurt.
Anyway, no one
Chase Edmonds.
no one should pick up Kenyon Drake.
Everybody pick up Chase Edmonds.
All right, on to the quarterbacks. I don't even know why you brought that shit up. That
Chase
is
Edmonds.
irrelevant straight
What about
out in the
Chase Edmonds?
conversation.
He loves Chase Edmonds.
Chase Edmonds is going to be a monster in Miami.
Yeah,
He's
for the
just
3
saying
games
that-
until he gets hurt.
All right, whatever.
Just like last year.
Yep.
Let's talk about guys that play 3 games and then get hurt. Baker Mayfield, he won the quarterback job in Carolina.
Great segue.
And you know what? With weapons like that, if Baker can't make it here, then he can't make it anywhere. He was drafted, unfortunately, by a Cleveland team that thought that they had weapons to be able to have him produce. He couldn't. Dude, that was shit. That was the total shit. Who'd they have? Nick Chubb?
OBJ, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt.
OBJ, who did not want to play with
Jarvis
him,
Landry,
and whose
yeah.
dad made a goddamn video, a hate video
And
against
then he
Baker.
went to L.A. and won a Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then Baker goes out to Carolina, and if he can't win here with these weapons, then screw that guy too. Lastly, what did I learn? I learned that Jacoby Brissett's going to be starting the first 11 games of the season
Maybe.
because
Joshua Dobbs looking
Joshua
really
Dobbs.
good.
Josh Dobbs.
Really
Dobbs
good. He was
Dobbs is
running the
looking-
hell all over your Eagles there.
you know who's
And
not
lost the game.
looking. No,
Well,
who's not
it's
looking good
preseason. Who cares?
Who's not looking?
is the therapist,
Never mind.
Deshaun Watson.
Why?
Josh Rosentrain? Nobody?
He's not playing the first 11
He'll
games.
be
I
all right.
think-
I think he's all right.
I think Rosen's getting camped.
All things
He's getting
considered.
cut. But I do think Joshua Dobbs looked good. I thought
I like Joshua Dobbs.
I thought your backup quarterback looked pretty good too, honestly.
He did look
Or what you
good.
can say, Jalen Hurts?
No.
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 He
Well,
did look good.
Gardner looked great, but even your third string
Carson Strong,
looked pretty decent.
undrafted rookie Carson Strong.
Great name.
Great name.
Better
He's
than
a great
Wentz.
Better than Wentz. Better than fucking Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield's not a bad name.
Hey, we're the
That's
only
a
podcast
terrible-
probably that's saying that Baker Mayfield's gonna, hit low end QB1 numbers in fantasy.
Is that so?
We're not all in agreement there.
From
I am
Pasquale.
curious.
Josh
It's
said that.
Yeah. I
Game-
think he'll be middle of the pack.
game 1 is going to be interesting because it does pit the Browns versus like.
It's interesting only to Cleveland fans. Nobody
Well,
else gives a fuck
no,
about
no,
the game, Rocky.
I
That's a good-
think
that's a good game to watch.
No, I think it's a good game to watch,
do
and I
wanna watch
think
that game.
I think Baker's
Those
got
are
it
the kind of games
circled,
I like.
right?
I'm not coming to your house then.
Baker's got it
I
circled.
didn't invite you.
Yes, you did, and I'm not coming. If you
I
were gonna
forgot.
have
I was
Carolina, Cleveland on, I'm not coming.
I like that game.
If I have to watch the Giants and then also a Cleveland game, I'm definitely not
Yeah,
coming.
no, but you want to
Oh,
watch
we
the
gotta watch the
Bears.
Bears,
Yeah,
right?
No,
the
I don't
Bears.
want to watch the Bears either. I'm not going to watch the
The
Bears.
Bears score 3
Oh,
points.
you're not going to watch the Bears.
Yeah, that's a lie.
What team are you going to watch?
I'm gonna-
one of your favorite teams?
I'm gonna watch my team, and then you're not gonna watch your team.
Teams.
It's better to have like 1 or 2 teams that you like, and then you have one team
No,
that
it's
you
better
wear
to-
the same
it's
hat
better to
every
have
week,
one
and you're
team
not gonna
be
watch that
so
team.
Mad about them that you don't want to watch them, then to have 7 teams and decide which one to watch because you think they might win.
I like the more odd matchups.
Well,
Like,
I think, don't you-
I love the game of the week, but I like seeing teams that don't always play each other.
Yeah.
I like that game.
Yeah, but don't you think that, like, to me, Baker's got it circled. He wants to go out there and he wants to look good against the Browns. But what I love is that, but he's not the only one. Like, the defense,
You're getting too deep for me.
no, the defense wants to make him not look good.
I think that's every defense, though.
No, I think that there's another, like, Myles Garrett came out against the fact that the Browns cut OBJ. They were furious.
I heard that Miles
OBJ
plans-
was a huge on the team. The defensive players loved him.
Sure
I
they
think they're going to try to make. I think there's something extra in it for them.
You think Miles Garrett will club him over the head with his helmet?
Possibly.
Knew that was coming.
Possibly.
All right, so I think that's enough on that, right?
yeah,
Let's
yeah,
get
yeah,
to
yeah.
next section, which is our fantasy section.
What the hell is a rundown? What the hell is a rundown?
All right, our fantasy rundown. Here we go. So, you want to enlighten us on one of our beautiful, wonderful followers that messaged us?
Yeah, so one of our TikTok followers sent us a direct Q&A about a draft grade for their team. They were the 11th pick in their fantasy draft, and it sparked. We're going to answer that, by the way, and then we not on here, but we're going to answer that. It sparked the question or the concept and the debate of draft strategy and trade strategy, and what do we think about how you should conduct your drafts, and what do we do personally? So,
Well, we are self-appointed experts.
Oracles.
some would say.
Oracles, yeah.
Yeah.
So Phil gave us a new segment.
Oh, yeah. But you want to pop it up on the screen there?
Yeah, it's the super expert fantasy advisors. Yeah.
I mean, you didn't intro that, but it was good.
Yeah.
It's on brand
You
for
can
the
put
show.
It's on brand for the
put
show.
So I'll say,
advisor.
hey,
SIFA for sure.
We've been
Advisor,
getting
I like that.
we've been getting a lot of questions.
Yeah.
In the DMs. We just want to say,
And we like questions.
we're gonna get to them. Just keep sending them. We're just trying to catch up right now because we're trying to get everything up to speed here. You know, got a bunch of drafts coming up, so we will get to them. Keep sending them. Line up advice, all that type of stuff. Draft advice, we'll do that. But like you said, we want to talk about some just general strategy. I guess we could talk about maybe just do a redraft first, and then maybe talk a little bit about dynasty.
Yeah. But can I talk about one thing I hate first?
Okay, you want to talk about?
I
yourself
hate
again?
snake draft. Can we end snake drafts for
Why?
good? Oh, I hate them. It's not NFL.
So wait, there's a caveat to that. Dude, have you done third round reversal snake drafts?
Sounds
Is that a
kinky.
position?
It's the tits, dude. Because it's third round reversal. So you go first round,
Get it.
second round,
Yeah.
and then third round comes back around. So it puts the power back into
I-
the 12th seed.
Listen,
I think I would prefer just a straight draft too.
I did too. I like the bad teams get a chance to draft.
You don't look
high.
like you like anything straight, just PS.
Oh, wow.
So you saying I look gay?
Oof.
Ish.
Oof.
He's
Thank you.
fucking gay.
You're
I
welcome.
get it. I mean, there's not a lot of bad-looking gay guys walking around.
TMG
Whoa, what
reference
does that
there.
mean?
That's
All right,
true.
So,
That's true. That's true.
what are we talking about?
Well hygiened.
Well, draft strategy. So, do you want to just do a redraft first? That's his favorite. That's his favorite button.
Let's do because that was bad. All right, let's do redraft first.
Okay. I mean, I personally, are we just gonna go off what we like to do?
Yeah. What do
Yeah.
you have a strategy? Are you a running back first guy?
I think-
wide receiver.
Yeah, I think best value, obviously. I like my picks to be kind of made for me. So like if I have the 4th overall pick, and I think that's a great pick this year because there's a player that you have to take, or there's one or two players you have to take. But if you're in the 6th, 7th, 8th this year, it's like you really can make your own fate. I don't like that personally, but I think I'm a very strong like running back kind of guy. You got to go like really prime on those, and then you can kind of fill out the rest of your team. I think there's more depth in the receivers.
Anything that like you don't do in a draft, like a rule, like maybe
Yeah.
something you've done in the past that's kind of burned you, and
Yeah.
you won't do again.
I never will take a quarterback too early because
Yes.
I forget the stat off the top of my head, but the
Number
quarterbacks,
one.
the top 10 quarterbacks that finish as top 10 quarterbacks in fantasy, I think maybe 2 or 3 of them were actually drafted to actually be a top 10 fantasy quarterback. That's a loose stat, but it's somewhere there on the internet. And then another thing too, for the leagues that I used to be, and they used to do kickers and defense, I wouldn't even draft a defense in the league. I would just pick a skill position player and go defense week by week. And
Yeah.
kicker, if it's not Justin Tucker, I don't give a shit.
yeah, especially for new players, don't draft defense.
Yeah.
Don't if you're gonna draft a defense, it better be the best defense available that you think, or it better be you better not be taking 2 defenses.
It better be in the last round.
Don't take
Well,
You
two
see that
defenses.
happen a lot of time with like guys that are playing for the first time or maybe second, third year.
That's the easiest rookie advice you can ever
Yeah.
take.
Yeah.
Don't
Especially
draft
if you're
defense.
drafting early, you want to stream kicker and defense actually. So if
Yep.
you're drafting super early, right? So I'm talking pre-summer. If you're in those types of leagues,
which is risky.
just take streamers on a couple of dudes that you hear some buzz about, or you think that you want to take
And what
a
is
shot
this-
on.
What's a streamer? Just
So anybody who you think might have an impact, but you're not sure, right? So every week you're going to be able to get a viable kicker, a viable defense. So why not in May take a streamer on Julio Jones, who's a free agent, because you don't know where he's going to end up. Oh, where does he end up? Tampa Bay with the greatest quarterback of all time,
Yeah.
Rocky's favorite quarterback. I mean, take a streamer on those guys
Great
versus
point.
picking up a kicker or a defense.
Yeah, don't waste a roster spot on a guy that you can stream throughout the year.
Yeah, because you can fab them before week 1, or if you're in a worst to first type scenario, you can always waiver wire.
So what about you? Any strategies that you do in redraft leagues?
Yeah, so there's a lot of strategies that I use, right? So I do a lot of leagues. I used to be a wide receiver whore, 100%, right? Especially in PPR leagues. I used to just gobble up all the wide receivers, right? I'm all about them, right?
Them.
Just
Cut that.
just down the gullet, right? But running back is so sparse for dynamic running backs that you really want, depending on where you draft. Again, you want to go running backs early and often, right? 2-3 running backs in flex leagues, double flex leagues. I've already done the 4 running back start, and it's tricky, but there are wide receivers there. Trust me, there's wide receivers later on. But again, if you are doing redraft leagues and you're doing best ball, and if you're at the end of the round, I've said this. This is the 3rd straight year I've said this, and this year more than any, if Travis Kelce is there, man, Travis Kelce is a league winner. There are no other dependable targets outside of Juju, and we don't know if he's really dependable or not. Travis Kelce is going to get his looks. He's got his rapport with Mahomes, and Travis Kelce is a league winner. And if you can get him late in the 1st, early in the 2nd, kudos. Man.
Anything you don't do?
Same thing. I don't go quarterback early. And in my bigger leagues, I usually don't draft kicker and defense. I take the streamers early on. Once we get towards the end of camp and we kind of know what's going on, at that point I will, because again, I do a lot of leagues, so I will draft a quarterback, a kicker and a defense towards the end of the summer for those teams, just because I don't feel like going through the numbers of all my teams and doing waiver wires on everybody.
What about you, Rock?
Yeah, so I think we're similar. I would say normally in a redraft, I would say to avoid most rookies, because the idea that a rookie is going to make an impact the first year, unless they're like the number 1 quarterback, is rare. However, I would say that this year might be maybe an aberration in that there's 2, I think, bona fide running backs that I might take a chance on, and that would be Dameon Pierce and Brian Robinson, who you mentioned. I think those 2 actually have a chance to possibly be qualified running back ones on their team. But normally what I like to do is, I'm a running back guy. I'll try to pick up a couple really good receivers, but then I am taking chances on running. Like, I am stocking up running backs because, like you said, there's so few dynamic. You don't know which ones are going to break or who's going to get hurt this year. So I try to be a little bit running back heavy, because I do feel like every year there's a Gabe Davis who breaks out a receiver that you can pick up on the waiver wire.
Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah. Every year I just feel like if you're stuck without a running back, you're screwed. If you're stuck without a receiver, you can normally pick up receivers that are going to fill in the gap.
Depending on the league, but yes, I know casual.
Yeah, depending on how deep the league is too. If you're in a 16-team redraft, maybe not. But if you're in your typical 10 or 12, you can probably pick up receivers.
We got some support on the Dameon Pierce cut on TikTok too. Yeah. Somebody called Dameon Pierce top 3 running back in the league this year.
That might be a little far-fetched,
which I think is bold.
Right track.
If you watched his film, Houston's going to be playing from behind. He's going to get a lot of opportunity, and he averaged 9.8 yards per touch, man.
Yeah, the only thing that scares me about him, and I agree, because I'm saying go with him, but they had him out there for a couple series, and then they didn't even play him the second game because they feel so certain he's going to be their number 1.
Yeah, Marlon Mack was out there in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, it just, I don't know, I wish we had a little bit more game film.
Yeah. Well, there's not a lot I can say that you guys haven't already said. Obviously, I stay away from quarterbacks as well. Running back guy, but I've noticed the last few years, to your point, the wide receivers, it just feels like obviously there's depth, but it's even harder to pinpoint who those top guys are going to be. So it's
there's
like
no point in even doing it. Yeah.
Wasting a bullet on one of those guys that you might you want to take, and then
to your point, to Rocky's point too, a lot of like the WR2s out there are going to produce WR1. Allen Robinson, Gabe Davis. These guys are going to, depending on who's the number one in New Orleans, I think Mike Thomas and Chris Olave are going to put up monster numbers. I think both of them. So your safer bet is definitely to wait on receiver than it is to wait on running back.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I think that like you said, if you're picking pick 5 in the first round,
it's tough. The middle of the draft is tough this year.
Maybe you pick Cooper Kupp, maybe you pick Devontae because there's not a running back you love, and you're getting maybe a top 1 to 3 receiver.
You better draft the handcuff if you're taking any middle pack round 1 running back.
Yeah, because there's so few running backs that are like, this is our running back. There's so few Saquon Barkleys.
There's a
CMC. There's only a handful of them.
There's a stat that I'm kind of falling in love with the more I hear it, and it's not really super secretive anymore. But second and third year, especially second year wide receivers, always pan out in fantasy. They way exceed their draft value.
Yep.
I mean, you see with like the T. Higgins of the world. There's Jamar Chase in his rookie year. Imagine in year 2, like that. That's a real stat that you should look into. Like Michael Pittman Jr. is going to be a breakout candidate this year as well. And another thing that I don't do in drafts is I used to, especially this is for maybe your rookie fantasy team owners, where you want to try, okay, I have my quarterback, I have my wide receivers, I need my 2 running backs. So you try and fill out your roster. It's not really worth it. The more you can stack up on your running backs is more of value than trying to get even 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs. You got your 2 tight ends, that kind of deal.
Yeah, the worst case is you have a lot of great running backs that you're able to trade for picks for next year. Yep. In one of our leagues, I drafted.
We're talking dynasty now, right?
Well, yeah.
Or honestly, even redraft.
Yeah, even a redraft. But like in one of our dynasty leagues, I amassed a bunch of picks and I drafted Brian Robinson, Jerome Ford, James Cook. Like I drafted a bunch of running backs.
And his team still sucks.
Well, last year it did, to be fair to him. But my whole point is sheer numbers, somebody's going to break out. Either I'll use or I'll trade to Mark, probably because his team's going to take a big step back.
Throwing darts, take a big step back.
So to the point with dynasty draft, I want to hear one of you guys talk about just like the difference in value now, the way you talk about rookies in a redraft versus a dynasty league. Obviously, if you don't know what a dynasty league is, it's a league that you kind of run your team as a GM. You keep players on contract for multiple years, so you got to approach it in a completely different way.
Yeah.
So different value for different players. Age comes into play, all that type of stuff.
Well, and there's so many. The great thing about Dynasty is, when you guys ask us questions, and in fact, we're going to probably do a TikTok live on Sunday mornings where we ask you to give us questions and we'll answer them. We love this stuff.
Give it to us.
What helps is if you tell us what the parameters of your Dynasty league is. It helps because we're in one league where we keep a roster of 40 players. Then there's other ones where you have a roster of 20. Yeah. There's 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year contract. We kind of need to know the parameters because for me, I'm picking James Cook not for this year, but for next year. Yeah. But it's worthwhile to go high on him if I'm in a dynasty league and I know I've got good starting running backs and I can afford to wait for Cook.
So it's a delicate balance, right, to answer your question. So you want to go, obviously, in a dynasty league with youth, but you don't necessarily have to overextend yourself for the rookies, for the Breece Halls, for the Treylon Burks, for the Chris Olaves. You don't necessarily have to do that. You can get somebody second, third, fourth year, although I will caution you with running backs as they get a little bit older because, as we know, the running back longevity in the league is around 5 to 6 years. You want a healthy mix of younger guys now versus older guys later in the draft. And there's this common understanding from everybody in your draft too that those older guys are going to be around. The Mike Thomases are going to be around. The Chris Godwins are going to be around come rounds 7, 8,
Mike Davis
9.
at running back is going to be there probably later in your draft, and he might be a decent backup.
For instance, Zeke Elliott, Zeke is probably in a dynasty league. Zeke's probably going around rounds 4 and 5. They're going to be there because everybody's not necessarily looking for the now; they're looking for the later.
Yeah. So you're just starting to play some dynasty now, right? So do you have any questions or? I mean, I have a few things to say, but I just was wondering. I just thought about it since you just started.
No, I think like the more I'm kind of involved with it, the more it makes sense. Like I've done my first year dynasty draft with that, which is honestly pretty exciting. My draft strategy was, and I showed you guys my team already, was just straight up youth, like just trying to go for youth. And I think I panned out on a lot of options to where I got really young players that are on their second big contracts where they're supposed to be getting the ball a lot. Yeah. Like I've got like Deontay Johnson's, Christian Kirk's, Darnell Mooney's, Travis Etienne, like young guys that are supposed to pan out. And then I got the kid out of the Chiefs. I have a few Saints running backs that might pan out, like Jerome Ford, those kind of guys, James Cook especially. So I just think keep it simple and just go for like just young players.
Yeah, I think
like
a good general rule of thumb, if you're switching from just a regular redraft to dynasty and you're just getting started, is just learn to think, broad, big picture. It can't just be, you want to be competitive. You got to look at your team. Like there's been years where you looked at your team, I'm not going to be able to compete, and you kind of plan for the next year. Sometimes in the dynasty league, you're playing the long game, and typically in dynasty leagues, you're in a league with guys that are going to be playing a while. I've been in the league for a while, so it is a thing where you don't have to win this year, and you could plan for the next.
Yeah, dynasty is all about the future, and so like when I joined his league, which is a pretty competitive league, I bottomed out my team completely. Yeah. And I traded everything I had of worth for picks or young players because I knew I couldn't compete last year. And I knew my only chance was to have that machine gun approach. Yep. And so, like, another thing to me, too, is the more you know college, the better you are at dynasty. So, like, I had Romeo Dobbs, and nobody will believe it, and I don't care if they do or not. To me, he was a second-round receiver. I picked him in your draft, and I showed JJ. He was my third receiver off my board. Yeah. Because I had watched the kid in Nevada, and I kept saying, this kid's got something special. The more you know college, the better it helps you. So, like some people, I excel in the rookie draft. He might excel understanding the analytics around a third-year player. Everybody's got something.
That's a good point. Another strategy that I imply for fantasy is I have a 3-year rule. After 3 years, I blow the team up and I stock up on draft picks, and I'm then shooting for 2 years thereafter. And every 3 years, I'm looking to do the same thing. And it's worked out thus far. And, at that point, you're guaranteeing yourself some fresh faces. Each of the past this will be the third season. 3 seasons ago, I traded Christian McCaffrey. I ended up, lucking out because I traded him for a bunch of guys and he was injured. Last year, after Henry got injured, I traded him for guys that I needed to make a playoff run, including Austin Eckler. Yeah. And that's like to back up the TikTok where I say, I'll trade one dude for 3 any day of the week. And then this year, and I will before the beginning of the season, there were no buyers during the draft because everybody has a draft boner, right? Everybody wants to draft those early picks. They don't want your
sound like giraffe.
They don't
giraffe boner.
Giraffe boner.
Pretty impressive.
They don't want your Najee Harris during the draft because they want to be the ones that go out and get Breece Hall. But guess what? After you draft him and you realize, hey, he's not going to fucking pan out this year, you're going to trade him along with some other commodities to me for Najee Harris.
Yeah, I can tell you. Speaking of that, that's like. To me, people are overvaluing Bryce.
And that's a perfect segue to talk about trades because I think we want to address that too and just how to. I think trades is one of the things that a lot of fantasy podcasts I've watched before, and we were getting them last year a lot. Just advice on trades and how to trade and what kind of packages to put together and what to. I get a feeling that a lot of people don't really know the art of the trade. Yeah. I think there's different ways to approach it. Yep. More than just like, do I trade this guy for this guy? You have to approach any trade you do. You have to have an agenda. You have to have a strategy, and you have to kind of stick to it. Like if you go into a trade talk with somebody, especially if you go with like a seasoned fantasy player and you don't know what you want, you got to be looking at him the same way he's looking at you, which is, I want this, and I gotta find my way to get to it. Because like when I trade with you, we don't trade a lot because I know you, and I know whenever you text me, I know there's 3 layers And I know that there's 2 misdirection layers, and then there's what you really want.
You got to have a chart and a plan.
That's why we don't trade a lot, because I think you get it with other people that don't see that. But you have to be. What I'm saying is, you have to kind of be on your bike with that stuff, and you got to know that if a guy's approaching you, he has an agenda. Yeah. So if you're gonna engage, figure out your strategy, get your agenda, know what you want, and don't budge too much.
Yeah,
you could budge, but it has to be a budge that you already have worked out into your psyche.
Yeah. Especially dealing with this guy, because like you said, there's multiple layers, right? He comes at you. He always starts off with, what do you think about so-and-so? And if you don't know who's on his team, quickly get on your league page and see who's on his team, because they'll say, oh, what do you think about Romeo Dobbs? Oh, I really like him. What do you think you'd give up for him, right? And he makes you bare your soul, and then he's like, oh, well, I'll take that plus your first round pick.
Well, that's called leverage.
Yeah. And then what you do is then you deny it, right? And then he's like, then he shames you. Then he's like, oh, you piece of shit. He's gonna be amazing. I can't believe it. I have 4 other suitors lined up for
Rocky's
this.
like the guy at the club that goes to like, hey, do you want to dance? You're so beautiful. And they're like, no. He's like, fuck you. You're ugly anyways. I hate you. You're just dying a hole.
Oh, well, I have 4 other people that are offering me 2 established receivers and their first round pick for the next 2 years.
And I always do. And then I make the trade and he gets mad at me because he did that.
Oh, bullshit.
Rocky would tell you how many people he's talking to for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%.
You're like the Jimmy the Greek of fucking fantasy football.
100%.
Rocky, yeah. I don't want to keep bragging on you, but people,
no.
People
listen,
will.
This is an honor.
I do. Keep the shit going.
But people will employ different strategies. You know, they'll try to throw you off your game, talk down your players, talk up certain players. It's trading should be fun in fantasy. I feel like
it's an art.
It's its own game. Yeah. So come into it with that mindset. I think that's perfect. So what is a strategy that you guys are willing to put on the table?
I think I kind of want to add to the art or the layer of like kind of having a game plan set, because for me personally, if I'm setting up a trade with you, I'm setting up the trade I'm doing after that.
That's
like
right.
I feel like I never trade for a player. I trade for a player that I'm going to then trade away for more.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
And it's also what you should think about what you're getting on the waiver wire.
And there's nothing better than when you do that.
And then you see the 2 notifications right after.
And then the guy, you know, with the guy thinking what the guy is thinking about what you just did with his.
Yep. The best is when the whole entire league is just sitting around twiddling their thumbs, living life, and then they see 2 notifications for trades, and then they instantly get jealous because their teams now feel like they're not as good.
Or mad.
No,
because like Jared King got mad at me because I traded like a late round first round pick.
Mm-hmm. Wait, Jared King got mad?
Oh, I know. And then but then the next second I spurned it into like a 1/8 and a player, and his comment was, "You bastard! What? Why am I a bastard?
You're just trade fodder, man."
Yeah, I just
Counterpoint: there's nothing worse than setting up those multiple trades.
They fall through,
and then that second one falls through, and you're like, "Son of a bitch!"
That's the thing, though.
Now I'm stuck with Aaron Rodgers.
I think you need to have
awful.
You need to have contingency plans. So if you're not doing trade 2, then what's your waiver wire, acquisition? Or I personally, if I have trade A lined up, cool. I'm the one they're sending the request to me. I'm waiting to approve it till I have trade B lined up.
Yeah.
Like I don't screw myself over.
See, what I'll give you one that I like to do that I'm not. I always like, if I want somebody on somebody's team, and
into the mind of Phil.
I typically do this to a player that's a little less
experienced,
savvy. Yeah. What I'll do is I'll send him a package.
Be careful.
I'll offer him a package that I'm not really planning to trade.
How big is the package that you offer?
It's decent, better than average. And I'll say I want a certain guy on the team. Now, I have no interest in trading these guys, maybe one of them. And I do it. I throw in like 2 garbage guys, good guy, but I want to see their response.
Yep.
And what I'm trying to see is how they value that player that they have.
Yep.
And then once you pay attention to how they react if they say, "Oh no," or if they say, "Let me think about it." Or you could just kind of gauge it, and then you could decide what you need to add or subtract. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll have another play on the roster that is the one I actually want to trade.
Yeah.
And if they don't love that trade, I'm really trying to pivot them into the other one. And he's usually going to be a little bit better of an option, but they feel like he's an upgrade over the first trade. And if this is what I'm saying, if you don't have the strategy, you're not coming into it with that mindset. Once I have you on the hook that you're already thinking about trading player 1, the momentum is built. So you're already thinking about a new face. You're thinking about getting this guy. And now if I give you a better option than my first option, especially if nobody else is hitting you up, if you didn't put him out there, now it seems like you're getting a deal.
Right.
And you're more apt to trade that player to me for this supposed upgrade that I already had in mind to trade to you in the first place.
My favorite thing to do is to see through that shit and automatically go for the jugular and say, oh, well, I'll take this guy from you who is your best player A,
Yeah.
and a draft pick, and then make you feel like the asshole for coming at me for the trade and not willing to give up that value.
I wouldn't come
I
at
think
you.
I think it's case by case, but I feel like really the more important thing is when you trade, you have to. I feel like when I trade personally, I'm trading for a player that I'm predicting or projecting to make it worth my while in the end. I'm not really trading for somebody that's at their peak value.
Right.
Yeah.
And I try to trade either after drafts are done or near. And trade deadlines in fantasy are a legitimate thing.
Yeah.
Because there are teams that realize they're in playoff pushes or not. And that's really when you can try and harp too.
Well, and sometimes, for instance, I think you have to know what you want out of your team, and you have to stick with your convictions. So, for instance, in his league, I won it last year, but I don't love my team coming back. So I did have Joe Mixon, but what I wanted was the number 1 pick. So I traded Joe Mixon for the number 1, but I got a secondary player, which the guy I traded with threw in.
Who was it?
Yeah, who'd you get again?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember now, and I can't off the top of my. But he threw in a player, and I said, no, not that one, but how about this guy? And his juices were flowing for the trade.
Because they already
Once
wanted
you-
Joe Mixon.
Yeah,
Get
so
the
he,
momentum.
So he went.
You get
and
the
so
momentum going.
honestly, I like the first round pick, kind of. But what I really like is this other player that I think's a decent.
You got to get him. You got to get him creaming.
So you give up a top 6 running back.
You got 2 picks. You didn't get a
for
player.
the first
Okay,
pick.
that's what it was. I got 2 picks. Yeah.
For
Yeah.
the first pick, which is a running back that you said is overvalued. And
No, I'm not going with that running back. See, that's where you stick with what you believe, and you don't care if anybody gives you shit
So
because
who are you
they.
taking first?
I mean, you'll know Sunday, but I don't care if people
Exciting.
think that I should take Hall.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Comment on this video who you think Rocky should take. With the
I
first
know who
overall
I'm
pick.
going to take, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with my
I think
decision.
a big thing with this
David
conversation
Bell.
is know your
David
when you're
Bell.
trading, know your league.
Yeah.
Know the guys in your league. Know who likes.
They
who.
have
Know who you
preferences.
could play an angle with. Know who doesn't know as much. That's all important. You got to do it. It's like you're a salesman. I love trading.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's more fun than the
Yeah.
fantasy football.
It is.
I used to
And
It
look,
is.
this is
Trading.
real life, man. Attack the village idiot, man. If the village idiot is going to give it up, club that son of a
No.
bitch and take everything he's got.
I don't agree with that, but I do
Oh, I
think
agree with
you
that,
should-
and you do agree with that.
You do
No.
agree
And this
with
is
it,
part of
you
his.
son of a
and
you
wanna
should
tell you
know.
guys a
Listen,
story in a
you
second.
should know every team and every backup team. So, I know he likes the Eagles and the Jets.
I'm not okay.
So.
Do what you want with that.
Yeah, but so I know that
I feel
he
like-
might value a player that I don't like. Other people don't value as
In
much.
fantasy
Joe
though,
and Rager.
I feel like in fantasy
It's
though,
possible, though.
Like my Miles Sanders is my AJ Brown. I feel like I'm pretty level headed with them.
Yeah,
to be
but
honest with
for
you.
him, he's got a hard on for Mooney.
he does.
Yeah.
Dude, how can you say that when I denied every
You were
offer
angry
you
when I
sent
traded.
me?
You were angry when I
wasn't.
traded.
No, but I was actually angry for
man.
you because you traded him for shit.
Yeah, and then I spurned it to another trade and got what I really
Did you
wanted,
see my
which is
receivers?
what you said to do.
Dude, I
always
have
think 2
6
trades ahead.
receivers better than Mooney.
All right. So, any closing thoughts on trade value or trade
Yeah,
strategy?
don't fucking trade Rocky.
Don't trade Rocky.
And
I will give
sorry.
you a quick story about Rocky. I gave it last year, but for new listeners,
Yeah, you have a story too, right?
in my league,
quick one,
Oh,
yeah.
you do? I'm sorry. I'll do this quick. So in my league, my Uncle Joe played fantasy for his first year. He never met Rocky before. We go to my Uncle Joe's house. He meets him right away. They're around the same age.
It's a
My
lie.
uncle's a little bit older. It's not a lie. He talked him up. My Uncle Joe 10 minutes later said,
We're
Rocky's
friends.
a great guy.
We're
he
friends.
never met him in his life.
We're friends.
They're friends. He's talking him up. We're laughing like, look at Rocky talking to him. He said, don't trust him. Maybe like 10, 20 minutes into
He
the
valued
draft.
Tom Brady. He valued Tom Brady.
He was the newest player in the league, so he had the first pick that
He
year. 'cause
valued
took the
Tom
worst
Brady.
team. He traded Tom Brady to
a
my
good-
uncle for
he's
the
a good
first
guy.
overall pick.
Tom Brady's a good quarterback.
What year is this? Was he still at the Patriots? Was he?
This
he's
was
still
his
the
last
Patriots.
year with the Patriots.
Oh, down
And
year.
this
And
now,
who was your uncle's quarterback? Like Peyton Manning or somebody? And this
no.
fucking guy
Peyton
comes
Manning wasn't
in.
playing, but no. So now, to be fair, it wasn't crazy to trade for Brady because that was the first year we switched to 2-quarterback league. But it was crazy to trade the first overall pick. Nobody else in the league would have done that.
No one.
And the only reason it happened is because he's never played before, and you got in his ear and he trusted you.
Hey,
And
Steve
that was-
Weiss just traded the number 1 overall
Yeah, he
pick.
says
For
don't
what?
What happened to Steve
what?
Weiss?
For Joe Mixon.
To
For
Joe
Joe
Mixon.
Mixon, it's not Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Fantasy wise.
You just said you don't draft a quarterback early at all in a redraft, but
Tom-
you'll trade him for
Tom-
the first overall pick. Shut
Tom
up.
Brady in a 2-quarterback league is as important as Joe
No,
Mixon.
he's not.
Dude, no, don't you're not. You're selling that on the wrong goddamn podcast. You
It's not true.
In a
and
2-quarterback league,
He's not.
He's
He's not worth the number 1 overall.
You
pick.
have no quarterbacks, so you know.
He's
No, I
not
have
worth
no
the number.
quarterbacks.
You wouldn't trade your first overall pick.
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
oh, dude, that's right. Stay away from this guy.
come on.
I can hold my own.
I've been helpful
Can
with
hold
you,
my own.
haven't
All right,
I?
so
Like I've
let's
answered
get
your
your story.
questions.
Yeah, well, now I don't. You have been helpful with me, so I don't know.
no, that's how he reels you in. That's how he reels you in.
Let's hear the
Yeah,
story.
so
I feel
think-
bad for him because he's got the team he got is crap.
This is all part of it.
I felt
I'm
bad for you too,
optimistic
but
in
you still went
my
0 and
management
You're in
skills.
the twilight zone over here.
So
already,
I think it takes 2 to tango for trades.
Yes.
I don't think the entire league should ever be involved. My trades have always hit the group chat. They've always been, oh, Zach fleeced this person. How
Yeah.
veto this trade? Vetoing trades is stupid.
I don't veto trades.
No, it's not. Yeah,
Because it takes 2 to tango. They don't veto trades in the NFL. I
Yeah.
mean, they do in the NBA sometimes, but regardless, I had in my fantasy dynasty league that we just drafted for, I have Ramondre Stevenson on my team, which I think has a high upside because Damon Harris isn't going to probably be that guy.
Next year he's
been
gone.
explosive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Patriots are a run-heavy team. My wide receivers, as I mentioned before, are first option guys that are young, but they're on shitty offenses. So how good can you really be? So someone proposed to me Chris Olave for Ramondre Stevenson, flat up. I think Chris Olave is a better player for my team, and I like Stevenson. So I texted my friend, who's a super analytic guy, so oh, plug him into the computer and see what the points say. Like, I don't think it's all that. I think it's part of it, but it's not all that. So I say, I don't know. He's like, dude, Chris Olave for Stevenson, that's a steal for you. You can get Olave. I said, I'm going to get more from him. So I said, long story short, I ended up getting Olave, and I think his second overall pick for next year goes to the group chat right away. And usually I don't care about anyone else in this league. Like, it's a cutthroat. Like, you need to be like your own, like, take care of yourself type of team leader. And because of the actual other person that I traded with, I legitimately like, okay, because it's you, I will trade back. But remember this shit, because I never do this. So I actually grew a heart and traded back. But I fleeced the kid.
wow.
yeah.
So
I have traded
I'll
back
never
before when
trade
people
back.
complain.
I'll never trade.
it was only because of
Never.
the guy, because he's nice and it was his first year, and I felt a
You
little
could die.
bad.
If he dies, he dies.
You have never traded.
I know
back.
I have traded back, and he knows I have. I have traded back.
He begged me. He
Jared
texted me, he's
King-
like, can you
See, you're
please?
giving the discount.
No.
I'm not trading you back Derrick Henry.
No, and
I'll give you Dontrell Hilliard,
No.
but you also have to give me your second round pick next
No,
year.
in the league that I run, I am really cautious about like looking like I'm a scoundrel. So I like 3 times gone back on trades afterwards because people complained that's not fair, and then the guy got cold feet, and I said, all right, if you want to,
Hey, listen,
Go back, go back.
don't be that guy
Hey,
in
don't
your
be a-
fantasy league
yeah, don't be
that
a baby.
complains about trades.
Don't be
okay?
a Chad.
Go make the trade. Don't be a Chad. Yeah. All right, well, that's the show, guys. We've been here for a while. I'm ready to go home. We thank you for sticking with us. Please find us on all our socials at UFL Podcast, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, right here on all YouTube. Like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. And please, 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 please comment and follow. Thank you.
Yes, we will answer anything and everything.
guys on draft,
Guys
go
on
watch.
Draft. Peace.